And there's this book that I read many years ago in India, and I remember there was a page that talked about the path opens up as you step forward. So you take one step, you don't know what the next step's going to be sometimes, a lot of times. And even when you think you do, it changes.
Welcome to Love Magic Miracles. I'm Alina Gigi, and if you're a soul-led entrepreneur who wants to make a big impact in the world, you're in the right place. And if you'd love to weave feminine embodiment into your everyday and quantum leap every area of your business and love life to new heights, then plug into these conversations with these inspiring thought leaders and hit subscribe, comment, and share with someone you care about today. Hello, it's Alina Gigi from Love Magic Miracles, and I have a very special guest for you today. I have Julia Ferrari from Chandra Collections, which is an exquisite, beautiful bohemian jewellery designer from Bangalore near Byron Bay. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I'm really excited to dive in today's topic about creating a business from your passion and from inspiration, and very, very excited for this topic. What led you to start your business?
My business was actually very organic. I feel like I have a unique story in the way that my business is started from my passion in from India, really, from beautiful things and from ancient things and sacred things. And it started from me just going over there and loving it. And whenever I would leave, people would ask me, they wanted things that I would be wearing or that I'll be embodying. And so I started buying to sell, and then I started designing. It just kind of happened very organically, and it kept me going back to the place that I love.
Wow. And you mentioned when I met you that one of your favorite places that you get inspired by in India is Rajasthan. How many times have you been there now?
I've been there 13 or 14 times in the last 13 years. Yes.
Oh, great. It's quite pretty, isn't it? I remember when I was traveling through the north of India there and around Pushkar and the pretty lake and the colors at sunrise and sunset of all the blues and the pinks and then the monkeys dancing along the rooftops, and it's
Have
magical. What is it? The cows on the street?
Yes, Rajasthan is where I get everything made, and I love India. I've traveled through it quite a bit, especially the first few years that I went there. The first time I went to India, I had a one-way ticket, and I just kind of let it take me. But Rajasthan is a really special place because it's the desert part of India. It's more like it with the border with Pakistan, and it has that beautiful Islamic sort of architecture of palaces and very royal. And the jewelry is very royal and ancient inspired. And I find that with ancient jewelry and civilizations, it's all a very similar design. Has a very similar root, and I'm really drawn to that. And Rajasthan just happened to be where I sort of started blossoming and
Beautiful. And I noticed your name, Chandra Collections, comes from the cycles of the moon. Is that right? In relation to the moon?
yes. So I'm a Cancerian, which is the moon is my planet, and I've always felt very connected to it. I've always felt moody and all those stuff. And Chandra, one day I was thinking about what's my business going to be called, and I've practiced yoga. I used to teach yoga. That's also why I used to go to India. And Chandra, I always knew it meant moon in Sanskrit, so it just made sense to be Chandra Collections because it's a collection of all the different phases of the feminine, because the moon is the feminine, that intuitive, that flowy side. So that's where it came from.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. And that's totally infused in your shop there. When I entered, I could feel that energy and in a very grounded way as well, which is really refreshing.
Thank you. I think that's my little sanctuary. I
Mm.
play classical Indian music, and people say to me, "Oh, it feels like I'm going into a spa or to get a massage," because it feels very, yeah, very much that's the atmosphere that I want to provide.
Beautiful. And then I noticed you've got wholesale as well on your website. So you offer wholesale jewellery to other businesses as well?
Yes, I do. I have a few shops that stock my range, few museums and art galleries, and
Wow.
yes, throughout the country and in America and Canada. So it's not massive, but it's definitely something that I try to grow, to share, and as I build the brand, that's one of the things.
Beautiful. Now, you mentioned you're a yoga teacher as well. What's your spiritual practice? Do you get up and do yoga every morning? How do you like to start your day?
Yes. So I practice yoga since for probably over 15 years. And that I taught yoga for 7 years. I haven't been teaching for the past 3 or 4. But I used to go to countries and do retreats like in Morocco and Indonesia, in India. And I would go to India and do a training every year or teach or assist. And I do have a strong practice because that taught me very to be disciplined, to start my day setting my intention. And I wake up and I meditate and I do a yoga practice. It's become very diverse in the form of physical form. It's not just asana for me, but it's become yoga, it's become meditation. That's like to me is the main thing. It's if I can't practice a physical practice, the meditation needs to be in place because that's what sets my day for how I want to feel, how I want to present myself to the world, how I want to interact with people, how I want to share my message, to believe in my dreams and
Yeah.
everyone else.
That's great. That it's just the best habit to do, and it doesn't even have to take that long, right? And it's just a non-negotiable when you start your day off like that. Everything else will flow much better.
Yes, I agree. Because I feel like meditation also teaches us that pause of being choosing how to be as opposed to just reacting to situations and things that happen throughout our day. So that it's definitely the most grounding. I always tell people, do you meditate? Because that will change your life.
Yeah, beautiful. That's so true. And I'm wondering along the way on this journey, what were some of the challenges? Did you have any mindset challenges or things that you had to grow or overcome within yourself?
In the jewelry, in the business.
More like in your how you were engaging with life, were there any challenges where sometimes it was hard, but it made you a stronger person?
Oh, yeah, so many, but, I'm a big traveler. I left my home country when I was 19. I'm originally from Brazil, and then I moved to Canada, and Canada was my home base for 14 years, but I would leave for every 6 months and travel the world and come back there for 6 months and do that over and over until I moved to Australia 6 years ago, and Australia was like, "Oh, this is where I wanna be." But throughout those 10, 14 years that I traveled, I feel like there's been a lot of times that people told me that I couldn't do. When I went to Morocco by myself, people are like, "Women are not meant to do that. You can't go there by yourself." And I'm like, "Yes, I can." And going to India so many times by myself, and people tell you, aren't you scared?" And I'm like, "No, I'm conscious of." And this is not disregarding people that have had things happen, because things
Mhm.
happen to all of us, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But I've had challenges, and, a lot of them were my own fears and my own limiting beliefs, just, getting over them, and even when you fall, forgiving yourself and, learning the lessons so you can improve to continue on, and the word that I use a lot is refine. We have to refine and refine. I'm very humble. That's also part of the moon, because the crescent moon is on Shiva's head as a symbol of humbleness, that the moon's not full. There's always more to grow. And I take that in my life a lot too, and in my business. When things go wrong, I apologize and I want to know how I can do it better. And it's a constant work on that.
Beautiful. That's great. That really resonates. And that's an exciting way to look at life because that means that there's limitless possibilities available to us at any given moment. What we need to do is really be aligned, tune in, be open minded, and see what presents itself.
Yes. And sometimes we have to work really hard, and sometimes we have to step back and
Mhm.
allow things to sink in and have clarity on how we can move forward. And I do believe that we have to be resilient, but nowadays I'm trying to practice more effortlessness as well, on flowing and knowing where to turn and where to stop and when to move forward.
And what is the best way for you to gauge that? Is it just tuning into your intuition or your gut feeling, or is there any other way that helps you tune into the best way forward?
I think that the intuition and the gut feeling is really important. When I feel like I'm just up on my head and I'm just running around and I'm pushing and I'm just exhausted, then I know I lost my ground. So then I stop and I start just nurturing myself in nothingness, really, just to allow space so I can see clearly, and then it comes. One window opens and then you start taking another step. And there's this book that I read many years ago in India, and I remember there was a page that talked about the path opens up as you step forward. So you take one step, you don't know what the next step's going to be sometimes, a lot of times. And even when you think you do, it changes. So all you can do is take the first step and do your part. And then you wait to see what happens and that unfolds. And it's infinite possibilities, really. And when it looks different than what we thought it should look like.
What I feel you're describing, I really relate to that because that's how I live my life every day. And I'm very privileged to be able to do that. And I feel like it's also a balance of the masculine and feminine energies that exist within us and the world. And not every moment is a time to push forward, and not every moment is a time to sit back. We've got to keep teetering on that edge. And with the in Indian yogic philosophy, it's stira sukha, that balance between challenge and comfort. And then we're right in the middle. And that's the goal, isn't it? To be in that equanimity in the middle.
Yes, it is absolutely. I do
Mm,
believe in that it is an ebb and flow, and there are times to move forwards, there are times to the yin and yang.
that's great. Yeah, I love that. Nice. So, what else inspires you in your life?
Beauty inspires me. Like, I'm the kind of person that stops to look at the sunset or to that sees the light coming through the backyard and it's like, oh, it's really beautiful. And simple things, I think that kindness inspires me. I always feel, like, emotional with kindness when people are naturally lovely and for no reason. I think that adventure, I'm really someone, even though I'm a Cancerian, I'm someone that loves to explore. And I think that's part of why my business is the way it is. Like, I tell people, say, oh, in your pieces, I feel like there's this energy. And I'm like, it's because there's love in every step of the way, because I go there, I source it, I look at it, I choose it, I talk about it, I sit with the people that make it for me, and I create with them and I laugh with them. And every step of the way has so much love and intention. And I think that, yeah, part of being an explorer, I'm really fortunate to be able to do what I love for a living and share. It's like a little piece of my heart and things that I find that are made into these pieces, and everyone that is involved, even though I'm not from India, there's something really special there that pulls me in. And I love being able to give back to this village, to this people that come from the desert to work, and to share that with everyone anywhere. Because to me, we're all one, no matter where we're from. Or I have a lot of respect for different cultures. And when I'm in India, I wear a piece of cloth on my head, and I try to embody what it's like. But I think exploration is really important to me. It really inspires me, and beauty and kindness and
Oh, that's so lovely. I feel like you're a real artist in there. That's I feel do you ever like, I think you're already explaining art and life imitating each other, and I love it when art and life just merge and meld, and then that's so enriching into every day, and like you said, simple things, you could have a cup of coffee and look at the pattern on the top of what's being created. "Oh, there's a yin and yang in my coffee, amazing." There's
Yes,
symbols everywhere. Do you always see symbols and sacred symbols and geometry and things like that?
I do.
Mm. Mm.
And just the simple things that I think that are the little signs of things, or butterfly flying outside of your window, and it's like, "Oh, look at the butterfly."
And so, what would your advice be to someone who wants to pivot in their business or start a new business and they're just looking for that clarity to take that next step? What would you suggest?
I feel like there is a lot of hard work. You have to be up for it. But I think that what fuels you is the fact that you're doing something that you're passionate about. I did study business entrepreneurship for a couple years so I could understand certain parts of a business if I was going to have that as my income, something that would support my life. So I did educate myself on what needs to be done in order for this to not become something that I resent
Mm,
because I can't make ends meet.
mm,
I'm very curious. I think it's important to be curious about all the sides of it because entrepreneurship, it's not easy. It's
mm,
very rewarding, but it's a constant and you're
mhm,
always on and you take things personally because
mhm,
come from you.
mm,
What I do, it breaks my heart if something goes wrong.
mm,
And I think so having the clarity of educating yourself, what are you not good at that you're going to need in order to make this into a business and combining the two, the creative self into the business self, I think
mhm,
is important and knowing your worth, what you need in order for you to you take care of yourself and be able to eat and live. I think that's really important. Staying curious and always refining, always looking for ways. I had a teacher when I was younger, I studied fashion entrepreneurship in Canada, and I had a teacher that said once, challenges are opportunities for growth. So if someone opens a shop beside yours that sells the same things as you, but cheaper or whatever, what can you do? How are you just going to fold, or are you gonna think of ways that you can overcome this challenge?
mm,
And I think it's just always having that growth mentality of so you fall down and you're like, "Oh, how am I gonna build myself back up with integrity within my limits?" And then it comes back
mm,
to you have to listen to the signs as well of what's not working, what do
mhm,
people want, what's needed, but what's my gift? How can I give that to the world? Because with jewelry, I live in the Northern Rivers, and we've had a couple big things happen here, like the floods in 2020, and that was something that makes you think, "Oh, but what am I doing? If something happens, what do people actually need? Mental health, they need food, they need shelter, more than they need a piece of jewelry." But then people said to me, "But your jewelry is beauty. When someone gets a piece and adore themselves, they feel good about themselves, and there's beauty in that too, so
mhm,
knowing your gift and
mm.
how you can share it to the world and educating yourself in the best way.
Great answer. Thank you. It's really practical as well as don't try and be someone else. Who are you? Because we've all been given unique gifts and we've all got them. And it's just really dusting off and uncovering what's there and peeling back the layers of perhaps sometimes people might get stuck in the court and the trap of people pleasing or imposter syndrome or those types of things. And they have bit of self doubt or they've had to just keep pushing on to provide for their families or whatever the story is. There can be it's just sort of giving yourself permission as well, isn't it? To go, "Well, hang on, what makes me excited about life, and what do I wanna share from my heart?"
Yes, and I think also having a plan on how to
Mhm,
do it, saving some money that can support you through 6 months, a year, whatever you think, working for someone else that can help you gain skills and clarity, just kind of carving your path in a way that it's logistical as well as creative.
That's really good advice because then it doesn't have to be this or that. We don't have to just do 100% one thing or the other. There's many different combinations. What's going to make you feel relaxed in your nervous system whilst you're building a business, whilst you're expressing yourself creatively, whilst you're balancing the other areas of your life with your health and your wellness, your mental well-being and family and the spirituality. There's a few facets in life we're all balancing every day, and we need to keep balanced in order to have a sustainable business as well so we don't burn out.
Yes, I think that's very important, 100%, so you can continue on.
So what about your name? Where does it come from? Are you related to race cars or
Oh, how many times I've heard that question. Uh, no, it is Italian, so I have an Italian, background. My great-grandfather was Italian. Lots of Italians in Brazil where I'm from, so it's an Italian name, but
Oh, great.
yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks for joining me today. And what's the best way for people to jump on, have a look at your jewelry and make a purchase online?
Thank you so much. So the best way is the website, chandracollections.com, and you can find on Instagram as well, which is Chandra Collections.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Keep shining bright. And thanks for joining me today and catch up
Thank
soon.
you so much.
Hello. Thank you so much, Julia, for that beautiful conversation. Here are the key takeaways. Be inspired by beauty and kindness. When you start to look for it, you'll find it everywhere. Combine business knowledge and hard work and creativity to build a sustainable business. Have a plan. Clarify your unique offering. Infuse your business with love and integrity every day and every step of the way. This will come back to you and benefit the lives of others. Embrace yin and yang, masculine and feminine energy to establish balance within and around you. Challenges are opportunities for growth. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Thank you so much for listening. It means a lot to me. These conversations are having such a positive ripple effect all around the world. So if you really enjoy them and want to spread those good vibes, please remember to subscribe, comment, and share with someone you care about today.